Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley. And Scouse is very ill today, unfortunately. I'm sure he's watching, but yeah, get better soon, Scouse. But we are absolutely delighted to have on the host of the Bleeding Burgundy podcast and my co-host on that show, who I really love, one of our special guests who's always on the show, always in our chat. It's Jesse Martin. How are you, Jesse? All right?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks for having me. Scouse, I hope, as well. But, now we can get some good offensive line talk now that I'm here.
That's true. Very true. Very true indeed. The football is over.
No Allegretti hate coming from this side of the pond.
No, I know what you're saying. The football is over, as in for England and for other teams in the World Cup. But we'll get on to proper football, mate. The less said about Argentina last night, the better. I think it was a bit down in the dumps. But your weather's been outrageous over there at the minute, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's and I'm sure that's probably played some bit of a factor in the World Cup. Teams that just don't deal with humidity and the high temperatures that we do. And I was really pulling for England for you guys, and it kind of sucks how that all played out. But it is what it is. I think the four best teams met in the semifinals, I think, of the whole
I couldn't agree more. And we were beaten by the better team on the night, and that's just how it goes. You can't defend for 50 minutes. It's just impossible to do. But
so it is what it is. Hey, at least y'all made it to the semis.
Hey, mate, you had a really good tournament as well. I'm not going to deny that. I thought the US had a very good tournament, so
I
played
too.
well above.
I think that does well for U.S. soccer, as we call it in these parts. I think it does well for the sport here for us to have as good a showing as we did. And even though that, it was kind of ruined by some of the hoopla that was going on in the politics, which I think politics should always stay out of sports. And
agreed.
When it doesn't, it's a shame because, the U.S., for all the years and all the previous tournaments, how we, just didn't do nothing, barely would make it out of the group stage or not make it out of the group stage or not even win a group game. We did very well. We had a good team, and we should be proud of our nation.
Absolutely agree on all points, but I hope it grows the game over there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Even more so than what it is, which is a good thing. So if only anything comes out of it, I'm sure that'll be a good thing. But no more hydration breaks. I'm good.
So
it's ridiculous, but
you're talking about the weather. Here, like in Virginia and in the East Coast, where our humidity is outrageous. When I played for 13 years of my life, multiple seasons in a year, never had a hydration break. Never did. So
what was it now? 106 I saw the other day.
Yeah. I mean
that's 40. That's 44 degrees C in our terms.
Supposed like the heat index was like 120 today.
Oof, yeah, that is a lot, especially with you, if you work outside. That's
a little warm.
That's not ideal. Not ideal in any way, shape, or form. Ian's on the chat. Ian says, always ill. Downside of working in doctor's surgery full of sick people. Get well, bro. Yeah, agreed. Let them have their water, says Deluxe. You guys are cruel. And thank you, everyone, for being in with us. Wiggy and Rod, who was here first, thank you for being with us as well. We appreciate you being on. Well, we'll get into it, mate. The headlines and the bits and pieces that have news that have been happening while we've been off. Obviously for a week. The first one is obviously training camp starting. We've got the dates through. So rookies will report on the 24th. Veterans will report on the 28th. And then full practices will go on the 29th. And the Commanders have also confirmed multiple open practices for fans in Ashburn. First question is, as a season ticket holder, Jesse, are you going?
I have multiple dates selected. Which ones I'll go to is up in the air. I'm not sure. It kind of depends on multiple factors, but I'll probably be at one or two of them at least.
Cool. Which player are you most excited to watch in training camp this year then, mate?
There's a couple really. I am really looking forward to see Odafe Owe. We've been itching for that high caliber pass rusher, and we're hoping that he's going to take the next step. Win the burgundy and gold. And obviously you got your players like Sonny Styles and Antonio Williams being rookies new to the team. Another player I'll throw it out there is Burks. I'm kind of excited to see if he can actually get out of his own shadow of what he used to be in Tennessee and actually make a move and aim for himself in the burgundy and gold as well.
Let's hope so, mate. Yeah, let's absolutely hope so. For me, I'm looking forward to seeing or getting the reports on Sonny Styles. Obviously, see exactly what we get out of our first round pick linebacker. It's going to be awesome to see him. I also want to see what Leo Chanel's like as well. So the linebacking room is going to be very interesting for me to see. I mean, we'll get into some camp battles and bits and pieces a little bit later, but yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to see. London tickets. Wiggy has put in the chat here. Did everyone get London tickets? And which block are you in? Obviously, last week was the general sale for tickets. So people went on and bought tickets. I know tickets are still available. I think they've sold 46,000 tickets so far. It's not been the greatest uptake in NFL terms, and we kind of know why. It isn't the fact that it's the Commanders. I think the prices are just getting absolutely outrageous now to the point where people have kind of had enough. And I do think in some respects, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong or if I'm out there, we can have a bit of a debate on it. But I think the NFL's kind of not taking the piss, but they're almost like saying, well, the UK guys, we know they're going to get games out there. We know it's well supported, so we'll just give them whatever game we want to give them. I mean, we're loving it because it's the Commanders against the Colts, which is awesome. That's what we want to we want to see. And the same with Madrid last year. The prices are just getting absolutely insane. I mean, something that you genuinely can't take a family to, and and we all know we go normally the first home opener of the season because you get to spend time with yourself. With John, with others, and, all our American brothers, but especially with you. That's what we like to do. We get together, we have time. You came over to London and Madrid last year, and it costs an arm and a leg even for you to travel over here. Yeah. We were literally talking about it before we went live. And I mean, I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, has it lost its razzmatazz, if you like? Has it lost the appeal now because the prices are too high?
Yeah, I mean in a way, that probably has some to play in it. But again, last year, there's tickets to be had up until, a few days through the game. And I think they will eventually wind up selling out. They pretty much always do.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, we saw this last year. It is what it is. And it could be the fact that there's so many games being played in London this year, and maybe people are like, I get a better experience at home. It's a total different experience, obviously, but why would I want to pay for a family of 4 or a family of 5, 235 pounds when I could pay nothing and watch it in my living room? So
that's it. I mean, I go out with you, what I mean? We enjoy it. We get out there, but the actual cost of me going to London is pretty much the same as what I'd spend to go to DC. That's wild. Do you know what I mean? It's insane when you think about the cost factor of what you're actually putting into things. Just for those who want to know, we're in block 1, 2, 3. Right down the front. So I'm not sure. I hope everyone's got tickets, but I'm hoping we'll meet out beforehand. As I said on last week's show, there is something happening on Saturday. We will get into that maybe later on down the line, but the actual team has taken over the running of this and they will announce it shortly. So, it's one of them that we're going to look at, and we'll get into that. And as soon as we hear, we know where it's going to be, where a party's going to happen, what's going on. We've got boat parties. We've got all that sort of stuff going on.
We just can't
Friday. But we're not able to tell you exactly what it is because the team need to do their due diligence on that and release it. Obviously, if we did say anything, even though we know Andy Burrows has worked very hard in the background, we'd be getting a lawsuit.
We're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot. It's not worth it.
No, definitely not. Into other news then, mate, that's happened this week. So they literally announced today the uniforms. Who's wearing what uniforms? I'll just run through it quickly. So we have the burgundy uniform week 2 at Dallas, week 3 at Seattle, week 4 in London, which is awesome. Week 8 at Philly versus Philly, week 9 versus LA, week 10 at New York, week 14 at Houston, versus Houston, week 16 at Minnesota, and week 18 versus Dallas. We have the whites in week 1. At Philly, we have week 5 versus New York, week 6 at San Fran, week 12 at Arizona, week 13 at Tennessee, week 17 at Jacksonville, and then the Hellraiser alternate uniforms are only out twice. Week 11 versus Cincinnati and week 15 versus Atlanta.
And that's disappointing to me.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I kind of wanted 3 or 4 games with the Hellraisers because they're badass uniforms.
They are. I like them. I think they're going to be cool. I think they're going to be very, very cool to look at and to see exactly how they are. We all love the helmet design. We love the old school stripes. I think this black uniform is a much better design than the one we had previous by a long way. So yeah, if you can go out there and cop it, but that's very good, Deluxe. I like that. Will Smoot be at the boat party? I saw what you did there, and then obviously Kilted Commander said, "Don't think he travels." So if you know, you know. Yeah, Smoot on a boat, not ideal, is what I'd say. But yeah, I'm disappointed as well. I'm glad that we're going to be in London in the burgundy, and obviously, do you think it makes a difference opening in a white uniform or a burgundy uniform? Does it not really care?
I always like to have the home and away jerseys.
Me too.
It's kind of like just mixed up now, so it really doesn't bother me one bit as long as they look good.
The next bit,
they're not the red gradient.
Oh my word! I actually bought that jersey. You saw me in it, and I've got a Cosme version of that because I thought, well, I got to buy one because I got to buy one. But yeah, it was very Atlanta Falcons, wasn't it?
I will say they look better in person, but they look awful on TV.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. John Riggins' jersey being retired. So they've announced that. During the season, it's the 8th of November against the Rams. They're going to retire his jersey. Obviously, we know what Riggo means to this franchise. You grew up, obviously, you'd have seen Riggo playing, and I didn't get the opportunity to see that. I've seen film, obviously, seen all Super Bowls, etc., etc. Hall of Famer in 1992. There's not much more we can say about Riggo, having his jersey retired. It should have happened years ago, but we know why it didn't happen, the politics that goes on, the previous ownership, etc., etc. But how did Riggo play a part in your fandom then, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, just as a kid, I had a 44 jersey, and just playing backyard football, being the diesel, putting your head down and running, acting like you're John Riggins. So yeah, he's definitely had a big, huge impact on a lot of kids that were my age. We all wanted to we wanted to get the football, and we wanted to recreate the 70 chip, the Miami Dolphins run, and we did so thousands of times in the backyard.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I've watched his play. I've watched all of that. I've watched Super Bowls, etc., etc. That is exactly what you want. I mean, what I do really like is there's been a jersey retirement pretty much every year since Harris has been in, which is what we want to see. It is an absolute honor to go back to the past and say, hey, these are our alumni. These are the people that made this franchise. It's great to see, and mainly you look up and you see the Ring of Fame. It's exactly the same. It's most of these people who are in the Ring of Fame who are getting their jersey retired. Darryl Green, long overdue, absolutely, last year. And the same with Sonny. And then obviously now we've got Riggins as well, which is also awesome to be done. And it's going to be a packed out game against the Rams, and it should be great viewing. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Maybe that's when we sneak in before the end of the season, because obviously we aren't doing week 1, so we'll wait and see what happens with that.
You're not doing week 1. I got talked into doing.
Are you doing week 1?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, just because Cam was coming over here, and I didn't want to be alone. He was coming. He had already booked the time off work before the schedule came out, and I was like, all right, well, I'm flying out Sunday night. Me and LJ and her wife. I was like, well, maybe I can, come up there and hang out I'll come up there Friday night, hang out with you Friday night, Saturday night, possibly catch the game. It's going to be a coin flip on whether I go to the game or not. But at least I won't leave Cam. I didn't want Cam to come all the way out here alone. So it's works out both ways. I'm already going to be in DC anyways. I'm flying out of DC, so
There you go. Happy days. So Rod says, just get Cooley back. Kilty Commander Heineke should be next. don't come with that blasphemy. Don't come with that blasphemy.
Who is the Kilty Commander? Is that Cam?
It's not Cam.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, it's not. No, it's not. But it is. He's cool. He's a cool dude. He's always in our chat. Next bit of news, mate. Final bit of news really is Rasul Douglas has signed.
Yep.
Obviously Rasul Douglas, veteran cornerback, which is what we need.
This guy left off. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Third rounder, 99th overall pick in 2017. He's played for the Eagles from 17 to 19, the Panthers in 2020. He was on the practice squad with the Raiders in 21. Same with the Texans and Arizona Cardinals, or however he did play for all three of them teams. Green Bay Packers from 2021 to 2023, the Bills from 23 to 24. Dolphins last year, where he had a very good season, and now he is with us. So his season stats last year, he had 62 tackles, 37 solos, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, 13 passes deflected as well. And overall, he has 92 pass deflections. He has 3 TDs. He has 21 interceptions and 393 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. So, yeah, I mean, he's 6 foot. He's 6'2", 6'3" almost. He's 209 pounds. He's a corner we haven't got in that size range. Do you see him as a starter straight away?
Probably not. Well, let me back up just a little bit. I think he possibly will be in battle with Mikey Sanders still for the outside.
Okay. So do you have Trey Amos starting irrespective on one side?
Yep. And he's definitely the lamented starter. No questions about that.
And then what about Amit Robertson? Is he your
I think he could be your slot. He's probably going to be your slot. And we got to remember too, depending upon Durant Jones' defense, sometimes they only play 2 corners. So it could be just how the play is set up. It could be rotating a lot, but I think Amos is definitely going to be our number 1 corner. Douglas is a savvy veteran. He's long. He's got, we don't have like you said earlier, we don't have a cornerback on roster like him. And we had some poor cornerback play last year, really poor cornerback play last year. So the experience that he brings is probably invaluable, and I think it's a good signing. It's a needed signing.
Couldn't agree more. Importantly, brings experience to the room. Said Rod, absolutely right. That is what we need: a savvy veteran corner who's done it, knows what the scheme is, understands how to press. He's not necessarily just a press man corner, but he is good at pressing. He's good in both schemes, really, zone and out in press as well. But I'm impressed with this. I think it's a decent signing, even though it's outside of what would be the normal, first few days, the first phase. It's a good signing to pick up towards the end. And speaking of that, Ethan Pocic, center from Cleveland, has been linked quite heavily to us. Schefter tweeted out yesterday that he is a full go. He has been cleared by his doctor, released by the Browns at the end of the season purely as a cap casualty. They couldn't afford his wages because they're paying Deshaun Watson too much money. And he's a starting center with 4 years of starting experience. 13 games in 2025. He went down with an Achilles injury, but his Achilles is absolutely fine and healed, they're saying, and he wants to join a team for training camp. Would you be giving him a call if you were Adam Peters?
No.
Wow.
This goes against what I was saying in the beginning of free agency, because this is one of the centers that I was kind of looking at.
Me too.
So I don't think we're going to be interested in them. I think they are. Listen, I think he only gave up 3 sacks last year.
Yeah, he did.
Gave a ton of pressures. He also the whole Browns line was god awful. The quarterbacks there were running for their lives. You saw what Peters did this offseason. They went after the biggest name on the board. Okay. I don't think they're going to. And there was plenty of other centers that were available for quite a long time throughout free agencies. Pochich is kind of in that mid tier of centers, which I think they already have. So, do they want to bring him in? For a same kind of caliber center for depth, possibly. But then you also, what are you going to do with Golban? What are you going to do?
True.
You can't have four centers on, four backup centers, or three backup centers. You have Golban, you have Allegretti, you have Good Jones, you have Brandon Coleman. I mean, you're just bringing in another guy, basically. If you already think you have that type of guy on your roster, why bring in another one?
Totally agree. Well, I understand where you're coming from. I would give him a call and say, "Hey, do you want to come in and training camp and see how it goes in training camp?" And then you take it from there. Obviously, you know what I mean, with his contract. But
the Kildare commander, it brought up one of the main number one points. He's coming off an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to weigh as well too.
Yeah, agreed. I'll come to Ian's question in a minute because we have a question on that around Brandon Ayuk, but we'll get to that a little bit later, Ian. So I'm not forgetting you, I promise. But we'll move on to training camp battles then, mate. So what do you think is your biggest training camp battle in your opinion? Is it wide receiver 2? Is it the running backs? Is it corners, the edge rushing room, or something else?
I think that there's a couple of them that I'm intrigued. Yeah, wide receiver is definitely intriguing. I don't know if there is a battle for a number 2 receiver, because I think if we don't sign one from the outside, I think the number 2 receiver is already lamented, and that's going to be Treylon Burks. Mm-hmm. The most interesting battle in that wide receiver room, I think, is going to be with Dyami Brown and Van Jefferson.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, that. And I think that's going to be for the last wide receiver spot on the roster, because again, if we sign someone else, I don't think either one of those make the team. Be honest.
Not me. I'm the same. And we know, and you've said it on Bleeding Burgundy, we said it on here as well, both me and Scouse when we've been on before, he has an absolute cuttable contract. Yeah. And we know what we're going to get out of Dyami Brown.
Yeah. Yeah,
we know what we're going to get out of Dyami Brown, unfortunately. He went to the Jags. He got $10 million. Fair play to him. It's in his bank account. Well done. Yeah. But we're never going to pay anything like that. He wanted a ridiculous money to stay here. And what production did we get out of him in 4 years? We got a couple of playoff games where he was decent.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. You know what I mean? You knew every game, if there was a deep ball or go route, Dyami Brown would catch the ball. That was about it. If he'd catch the ball, but there's two or three times a game where you're looking at Dyami Brown and saying, "Oh no, he's let that drop," or it's gone through his hands. It just, for me, you're right. He's probably wide receiver 6 at best.
Yeah. If y'all watch the other show, I was very disappointed in bringing him back. I thought it was just a pointless signing, to be honest with you. I am in favor of Van Jefferson because I think Van is a more polished route runner. I think he's a trusted veteran. And I think he could probably do more for Jayden being a veteran than Dyami. Yeah, Dyami Brown's a veteran, but I mean, Dyami Brown hasn't gotten more than 300 yards a season. I don't believe 360 some yards. So I'm more in favor of Van Jefferson winning that competition. I'm excited to see Luke's progression in this system. I think we're going to see bigger things. I think on the other side of the ball, I think we're going to have a really nice competition in between for snaps with Chanel, or not Chanel, but McGee. What are they going to do with McGee?
Yeah.
And then you have your boy Medrano. I just barely have him making the roster over the other guy from UCLA that played last year. and I only had him making the roster because of the fact that he was a draft pick. But I think, depending upon the DeMonte Jones system, I think this is a competition for snaps because they're not going to get many of them, because I think it's going to be Luvu, Sonny, and Chanel for your most part at your in your linebacker room.
The one that intrigues me the most, I think, going into training camp is the safety room. What are we doing in the safety room? There's lots of safeties in there. Some
a surprise cut.
So I think I have too. Some are on the roster, but the good thing here is because we've beefed out this defense this offseason, and there's genuine players in here. It's really difficult to look at this roster and not say that people who've started in the past year, if not 2 years, will probably not be on this team. There'll be people who you'd be like, wow, that is a serious cut. Likes of Percy Butler, Tyler Owens, they're struggling. They're going to struggle for a job. Javonte John Baptiste. There's another one who might not make this team. There's a few out there that you're like, I just don't know. Same with Kane Medrano if we're looking at linebackers. But that's seamless, that Jesse. You've done that absolutely seamless. So what we'll do is we will pull up our offensive and defensive 53s, and we'll also pull up what I believe is who is on the bubble, players that are on the bubble. And we'll debate this. We'll have a look at them. So you may not be able to see our face. We will still put it in the comments. We'll keep the comments going. So if you're in the chat, obviously we'll keep that going. But this is an overlay, so you probably won't be able to see us. But we'll discuss it as we go, and we can banter back and forward. We'll certainly laugh at Scous's offense and defense as we put them up now. So we'll go with Scous's offense first. We'll pull that up. There he is. Look at that man. What a beautiful man. Quarterbacks, he's gone. It speaks for itself. He's gone with 3. JD, Marcus Mariota, and Ethan Kalliot-Manis. Running backs, he's got 4. He's got Bill, Rashad White, Katron Allen, and Jeremy McNichols, which is interesting. Tight ends, 3. Chig, Ben Sinnott, and Bates. O-line, he went with 9. So he's got Tunsil, Coleman, Algretti, Cosme, and Conley Jr., Chris Paul, Wiley, Trent Scott, and Matt Golbin. And then receivers, Terry McLaurin, Antonio Williams, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, De'Ami Brown. If we get Diggs or Brown gets cut to practice squad. And Treylon Burks is his offense. Thoughts on his offense there then, Jesse? Is there any massive ones that's standing out for you going, oh my God, I can't believe he's picked that guy? Or, I think it speaks for itself. I think it's not too bad at all.
Yeah, our offense is probably a little bit more easier. I have a couple differences in that aspect.
Me too.
But nothing like major. We're talking about back end roster guys. But I think the offense is pretty set. I don't know why he would have Treylon Burks all the way as the 13th guy. I think he'd be number 9 if this is in order of.
I don't think it necessarily is in order. Yeah, on who's starting, who's not. Yeah. But, out of that though, we'll get to yours, and you can go for your starters if you want as well. That's fine. It's up to you. But I don't think there's anyone on the offensive line there I'm looking at that I would argue would be above what we've got.
I think I got the same offensive line.
Same. I think I've got exactly the same.
I got the same one. I don't. You could that Trent Scott. He's the back end roster, but I think he's done enough the past couple of years where, I think you can plug him and play him in a couple of different spots. So you need those types on the offensive line.
The only one there I would say is Jeremy McNichols over Ford.
Yeah, that's I don't see that. I don't see that happening at all. Yeah, I don't see. I think Ford is definitely making this roster at running back over McNichols. That's pretty much and then Van Jefferson over De'Ami Brown.
Cool. Well, we'll get on to his defense then. So his defense, he went with 5 tackles. Payne, Newton, Kinlaw, Settle, and Dietrich Wise, who is kind of a tweener in between, isn't he? But I think he's actually a DT. He's down as edge rushers 5: Owe, Amenahue, Armstrong, Joshua Josephs, and Chason. Linebackers 5. He's gone with Luvu, Styles, Chanel, McGee, and Nick Ballore. Corners, he's got 6. He's got Rasul Douglas, Amos, Sam Still, Robertson, Akilo Witherspoon, Trey Hawkins III, mostly for special teams. And then safeties, he's got 4 in Quan Martin, Nick Cross, Will Harris, Jeremy Reeves. And the 3 specialists, Drew Stevens in at kicker, undrafted free agent, Tress Way, obviously, and Tyler Ott. So there's a few there that we can probably discuss. The Trey Hawkins III, I get what he's saying on special teams. I understand why that's on there. Probably would say that Nick Ballore is a linebacker on here, listed as a linebacker, but is only there for special teams as well. I don't know. There are obviously some players who are thinking you would definitely be on specials, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, Trey Hawkins, I don't think he's making the team.
No, not for me either.
I didn't put a whole lot of thought in special teams, but I do think Ballore will be on this team. I do think I don't know who's going to win the kicking battle, so I didn't even put a kicker.
I know.
I did put Tressway and Tyler Ott on there, but I think it's really up in the air as far as Moody and Stevens as to who's going to, or it could be another kicker. I mean, you know how many kickers we've gone through the past few years, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The Trey Hawkins one is the one that really stands out. And then you got your Dietrich Wise. This is guy. I left him off my defense, but it's just because where are you going to? Is he going to be with the edge rushers, or is he going to be with
the D tackles?
The D tackles. I think it comes to a numbers game. You're getting Armstrong back. You just signed Owe. You just signed Chason. You just signed Tim Settle on the. You
just drafted Josephs as well.
Josephs, and then you have Payne. You have Settle. You have Ominahu. Like where is it feasible for Wise? I like Wise, and I was devastated when he got hurt because he was played so well for us. In the beginning of the season. But I just don't know if we have a spot for him.
It's tough. Well, we'll get into yours before we do mine then. I'll put your offense on. So there's Jesse. Look at that. What a handsome young man that is. Quarterbacks.
God, I look old in that picture.
You notice how I AI'd myself out of the left-hand side of there. I did well.
Yeah.
I did well there. I did okay. I think you were about 15 gins deep there in Madrid, but it is
most
what it
likely.
is.
Yeah.
QB's exactly the same. Tight ends exactly the same. Running backs, the only change from Scousey's there is Ford in for Jeremy McNichols. Yep. Wide receivers, you've gone Terry Williams, Burks, McCaffrey, Lane, and Van Jefferson. So no De'Ami Brown, I noticed there. Offensive line, exactly the same, I believe, looking at that. No, Trent Scott is. Oh, yeah, he is on there. That's 25. Yep. Trent Scott is on there. So it is exactly the same offensive line, which is interesting there. But you'll have to make a cut in a minute, I think, on yours. So, yeah, very similar. I don't disagree with your offense at all. Ford, as we spoke about before, that's probably the one where I'm looking at going, he's a savvy veteran. He's probably above Katron Allen, let's be honest.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, purely.
And Ford, I picked Ford over McNichols. And don't get me wrong, I like Jeremy McNichols. Mm-hmm. He's played well for us. He really has played well for us. But Ford is a little younger, and he's also a kind of a different type of back as well too. And Ford played very, very well when all the injuries happened in Cleveland. He was one of the small bright spots on that Cleveland offense when the offense actually did anything. It was a lot of times it was because of Jerome Ford.
The other thing as well is Ford does play special teams as well, and he returns kicks. So don't be surprised if you see running backs at the back again, returning kicks with this new kickoff setup, the way that it's worked the last year or so.
Ford and McCaffrey in the backfield.
That's exactly it. That's what I'm thinking is going to be the one. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get onto your defense then. So Kinlaw, Payne, Newton, and Settle on your D-line. Edge or outside linebackers, whatever you want to call them. Owe, Chason, Armstrong, Omenahue, and Josephs. Don't disagree with them at all. Sonny, Luvu, Chanel, McGee, and you've got Kane Madrano there.
I did.
Interesting. Corners-wise, Robertson, Samra Still, Amos, and Witherspoon.
And Douglas has to be on there as well too.
Yeah, he does. Rasul Douglas. Yeah. So I would probably say here, you've got a spot. You haven't got a kicker.
Yeah.
So I would say Medrano would probably be your cut there, or potentially Tyler Owens, maybe or Percy Butler.
Maybe. Now, if y'all notice something, okay, if y'all notice my surprise cut.
Yes, there is no Quan Martin there. Oh no, he is there. Quan Martin is there.
Martin's there.
21. Oh shit, yeah. I can see there's no Jeremy Reeves.
No Jeremy Reeves. Yeah.
Ooh,
you want to talk about that? How does that make you feel?
I don't like that.
No, I don't think many people would. I don't think I would, but I see it going this way. I see them wanting to get younger in multiple facets. And don't get me wrong, Jeremy Reeves has played very, very well for us for a very long time. He's been on practice squads, fighting his way to an NFL roster. He made All-Pro as a specialist, but I think it's time.
Gross.
I really do. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you. I agree with you. I can't. I just, for the special teams element alone, being an all-pro specialist, he is one of the best special teams players in the entire NFL.
Yeah, but he's been going downhill a little bit.
Not for me.
And I'm telling this, I'm putting it out in the ether. I've heard this from multiple areas, and John Keim will tell you the same thing. They really like Percy Butler.
Oh, you see, I would have him over Percy Butler every day.
A lot of people, and most people would, but inside that building, they like Percy Butler. They think he is, for special teams alone, he is their new Revo.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. He is, and he does play a lot on specials, Percy, as well. So you could be right. That could be an absolute shocker of a cut when we get to it.
Like I said,
do you think he would get claimed? Do you think he would get claimed by another team?
I would. Well,
or would he make it to
because
the
he's a
squad?
specialist? I'm not sure. When he plays safety, when he's on the actual defense. One thing about Revo is he will go and make the hit. He will make mistakes everywhere else. He's not a very good safety, but he makes the big hits. He's a specialist, and I'm not sure if specialists you can get claimed on waiver for just being an outstanding special team player. I've never seen it before.
It's a big factor, though, isn't it? But there'll be some team out there, I think, that might claim him. I think if it was something like that, or even a Percy Butler, if they didn't make the team, that'd be quite interesting to see. I mean, for me, I cut Quan Martin, keep Percy Butler out.
And I think most fans would feel that way. But I think, again, Quan Martin had a really good season in 2024.
He did.
If we look at our defense as a whole, in 2025, it was more than just players that were bad. It was the whole scheme. It was everything. Yeah, I'm sorry, Killed the Commander. It was everything that you put together for the defense itself was just bad. We've seen the talent Quan Martin has. I mean, everybody was talking about him being a Pro Bowler in 2025, and then he just shit the bed. I do think, again, he's a young player. I think Peters and Quinn and company are trying to get that young nucleus, whether it's on defense and offense. Those two nucleuses, and move forward and maybe start weeding out some of these older players.
I think you could be right. Let's look at mine then. So probably not much change on the offensive side. Same quarterbacks. Running backs wise, I went with McNichols as well over Ford. I know. Receivers 6. I've put McLaurin, Williams, McCaffrey, Lane, Diami, Brown, and Treylon Burks. So no Van Jefferson for me. Tight ends, I went with an extra tight end. I went with 4. I went with Lawrence Cager.
That's a good call. I like Cager. This team likes Cager.
That's what I thought. I'm
Isn't
hearing
he
a lot
old?
of
Isn't he like 30?
I don't know how old he is actually, but I think we took 4 last year, and Yankov was obviously our fourth tight end. I think they could do the same again this year. So it'll be interesting to see. And the offensive line is exactly the same. It's no different from either you or Scouse. So there's a few differences there. I mean, again, I went with McNichols over Ford. There's no Van Jefferson there. I went with, I just still took 6, but I don't know. I took De'Ami Brown instead of that. And then Lawrence Cage is obviously the obvious one that stands out at tight end. Defensively, Payne, Newton, Kinlaw, Settle, Wise. Owe, Amenahue, Armstrong, Josephs, and Chason. I went with Medrano as well. I took 5 linebackers, Luvu, Styles, Chanel, McGee, and Medrano. I think just makes it. Rasul Douglas, Amos, Samra Witherspoon, and Robertson, 5 corners. It's an interesting one. I went with Martin, Cross, Harris, and Reeves. No Percy Butler. And no Tyler Owens either. And then I've gone with Drew Stevens as well at kicker, Tressway, and Tyler Ott.
With Medrano, like looking at Medrano, and then I want to get the Wiggy's comment about the safety group. I really think it's going to be between him and the old guy.
Nick Ballore.
Yeah, Ballore. Has Medrano, again, this is pushing the roster towards younger, stronger, faster. Has Medrano worked on his tackling? Because we know he's quick, he's fast, he's super fast.
Very fast, yeah.
For that special, he's got to play special teams, and he's got to be able to take over that Nick Ballore spot, but he's got to learn how to tackle better.
Agreed.
That's going to be between him making the team and not. I think it's going to be between those two players right there.
Linebackers coach, old boy, used to be at UCLA. He's a Bruin. What's his name? Ken Norton Jr., isn't it?
Yep,
That's who
Norton
it is.
Jr.
He's got another year in this system. Obviously, Medrano came from UCLA. That was
right. He pushed for Medrano. Yep.
He did push for him. You would hope now that having a year in this system, understanding Durante Jones's new system, hopefully he would get a little bit better from a linebacking point of view. But do we see him on the field? I don't think we do see him on the field.
No. I think our linebacker room is damn good now, finally. Fast and furious.
I've highlighted some bubble players, mate. We'll have a look at these and just see if you agree or disagree with me. So I got Percy Butler, Nick Ballore, Cager, Yankov, Ford, Owens, Moody, Medrano, Robert Henry, and Trey Hawkins. So from all of our offenses and defenses that we've come up with, they were the 10 that were slightly different. That some of us have got some of them in, some of us have got the others in. Any other names on there that spring out to you that you think, they might be worth a shout?
Absolutely. Robert Henry Jr. There's a lot of talk about him. Running back. He could be our 4th. He could make it over Ford and McNichols. Wow. They loved him in OTAs and in mini camps. Put that list back up.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Yeah, I'll put it back up now.
If you don't mind. Yeah, I think, I don't think Butler's on the bubble as many others think. I think he's pretty much cemented himself as a special team stalwart. But, the likes of Tyler Owens, he could very well be on the bubble. Jake Moody, obviously the kicker competition is going to be fierce this offseason. Medrano, can he tackle? Ford, can he, do enough to overtake McNichols? Can Robert Henry Jr. do enough to overtake those two? Yankov, man, we haven't even talked about Yankov. Are they going to keep 4? I think they could very well keep 4 tight ends on roster because of the fact that they're going to play so much 12 and 13 personnel.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's why I kept Cager.
Yeah. And I was driving when I sent you that.
I know you were. and you did well.
You called me an hour before I got off to work. You were like, "Hey, mate, I need you to come on the podcast. Scouse is sick. Oh, by the way, can you send me over 53?" Come on, dude.
I know, dude. I know. You did well. It wasn't. I mean, the vast majority of it. Let's be fair. It speaks for itself. I would say who 47 of these players are. Do you know what I mean? But it is interesting because as I said before, there's genuine depth in some of these rooms now where we're looking at players that we've seen last year make the roster are not going to be here. Ali Cahoe, no one's even mentioned him. He's gone. He's not even going to be. He might be a practice squad guy, but he's not going to make it. Yankov, same thing. They were the two who I think Yankov's made the team twice now, hasn't he? 2 years in a row. Who else was an undrafted free agent that made it last year? Was it only Cahoe? I think he might have been the only one who made it last year.
Oh, yeah, last year. Do we have
Tyler Owens make it?
He made the team, but he was there on the team 2 years ago, wasn't he?
Maybe, yeah. So that's what I mean. There's a few out there. So that's what I mean. Tyler Owens might not make it. Yankov's probably not going to make it. And then you've got Ali Cahoe, who's probably not going to make it. Yeah. It's these very, very bottom of the roster guys who we're looking at saying,
and that's a good thing, though. That shows, it tells you that this roster is starting to form. You getting your guys that were on a team last year, but you're getting better guys in that are going to beat them out. It's only going to make your team better.
Agreed. I agree with you.
Going back to Wiggy's comment real quick, I just wanted to make a point about our safety room. I think we have a good safety room. Bringing Nick Cross in, and
I think that's great.
Will Harris got a lot of flack last year for no fault of his own. I think he's a pretty damn solid safety, and I think you're going to see it this year.
I agree with you. Rod says here as well that they're also talking up the guy from the IPP. You don't even make me try and say his name. I can't remember his name. Is defensive end. They will keep him. It's an extra roster spot. Yeah. So there's no real shame for keeping him. We get to have an international player on the team. We get an extra roster spot. So he's basically the 54th man without having 54 on roster, if you like. You can't suit him because if you suited him up on game day, then you would have to physically cut someone to make the 53. But there's an exemption for having an international player on your roster, which is good. It's not just now, Jesse, anymore an extra practice squad place. However, if you designate him as a practice squad player and say, you know what, you're going to make the practice squad, you get that extra practice squad piece. So if you say, no, we want him on active roster, you can sign him to the active roster as a 54th person, or actually we're going to put him on the practice squad, which is the vast majority of IPP players end up on a practice squad. It's very, very rare that you get someone who actually makes the team. They will go to the practice squad, and it's not counted against the place. Is it 14 on a practice squad now? Or is it 16? I can't remember exactly how many
16, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
So he might be the 17th player then on that practice squad. We've got a couple of questions, and it's going back all the way up to Ian's question. It kind of, the first one sums it up really. Paul Fiander Turner, who is at Having a Radox on X, he says, do you see any way back for the Ayuk in the NFL, let alone with us, based on his last couple of weeks of online insanity?
The thing about the NFL is if you have talent, there will be a place for you. Doesn't matter what you did. Doesn't matter what you do. Someone's going to sign you. Someone's going to sign him. If he even wants to be signed, he could just be having a fucking go, excuse my language, just because, I mean, if you think about it, I was thinking about this the other day. Why hasn't he signed his reinstatement papers?
That's the part I don't understand. That is the part I just don't get. What if you want to play for this team? And we said this last week.
Any team.
Yeah, any team at that. You go and get your reinstatement papers signed. You get yourself to training camp with the 49ers. You turn up in Santa Clara and say, hi, Santa Clara PD. I know you have a warrant out for my arrest. I'll sort that ticket out. I'll sort if I get banned, whatever it is from driving. No problem. I've got enough money to have a driver. Doesn't matter. I'll do my time, whatever it is that you've got to do to get you there. But you've got to be showing that willing to say, hey, I am trying my best to do this. Yeah. And the only way that you're going to get him earlier and not do the dance, I think it was Rod who put it in as well, saying it's September the 1st. Is the dance. And Ian said the same thing. It's going to last until September the 1st, because that's when he actually physically is owed money from the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. Or he turns up at training camp and forces them to cut him.
In reality, if he doesn't show up, they don't have to do anything because he's even past September 1st. He's on the list. That means
he's on the list for unable to perform, isn't it? Not unable to perform. He's on the exemption list.
Do not is like did not show or so. It's on the exemption list, so it can go past September 1st.
Yeah. But he's got to be out there showing his reinstatement papers if that's what he wants to do. There was a lot of hype earlier in the week as well about Stefon Diggs. I mean, would you still be interested in Stefon Diggs or not at all?
I am more interested in the new name that's been brought up this week in Keenan Allen, to be honest with you. I talked about him in a few months ago about free agents to watch. Allen now is he's an outside receiver, and I think that's what you would want to bring in. I think we got plenty of receivers that could be slot, and that's pretty much what Diggs is nowadays. So he's a name that could very well end up here.
Wow, that's an interesting take. Final question then we've got from Paul.
He got 780 yards last year in a stacked receiving room.
Did he actually get that high?
Yeah. He's a possession receiver, and why not? He still has it. He still can catch. He's got great hands.
How old is he?
He's
like 33 or something.
33. Yeah. But no matter what receiver you're bringing in, it's going to be on a 1-year deal. Whether it's
you're right. You're right.
Whether it's Stefon Diggs. So, I mean, why not?
Agreed. I
mean, if they even want to, if they want to bring,
they might even look at our room and say, "Hey, no, we need to see the young kids develop. We need to see, we need to see what we got in McCaffrey. We need to see what we got in Jalen Lane. We need to see Joseph's, Joshua Joseph's, Antonio Williams go off."
Again, I've said it
I'm really high on Antonio Williams. I think people are going to slip and say,
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Our receiver room is in much better shape this year than it was in 2024.
Yeah, well, actually, on paper, you would say yes.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't say it's better.
I mean, who do we have in Terry? Who do we have in 24? Jamison Crowder,
Noah Brown.
Oh,
we had OZ.
Yeah, of course we did OZ. Yeah,
and a bunch of scrubs. So
Chig. Rod says Chig could be that extra receiver. Yeah,
absolutely.
He's going to be a receiver. Absolutely. Final question then we've got for tonight's show is Paul again. He said, which legendary player do you think that they will bring to London for the game for fan engagement?
I really hope it's my all-time favorite player in Gary Clark, but I don't think he's going to. I mean, it's going to be somebody like a Cooley or a
possibly,
a more recent type of star. Santana Moss is always with the team. Maybe a Pierre Garçon or something like that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I hope it's Gary Clark as well. I was pleased to meet him at the 2025 NFL draft in Green Bay. Did our second round pick, which would be pretty good. Cooley would be a big surprise. He was here last time in London, but obviously that was different ownership, different name. So, I get that. Anyone else that I can think of from the past, you're probably right with Pierre Garçon, someone like that, that they bring through. But we'll see. Dexter Manley, that's a good shout as well. Rod.
Love to see Dex. Yeah. Charles Mann.
Someone like that. Yeah. Be good to see. Well, that just about does us, mate. Thank you. As always, everybody who's been in the chat, huge thanks to everyone who joined us live and got involved in the chat. You've made it another brilliant show. If you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to do the old hit the like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, let us know your final 53-man predictions in the comments below, what your biggest training camp storyline is, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully Scouse is a little bit better. Thank you, Jesse, for standing in for him. We appreciate you. It's always great talking ball with you. I cannot wait till October to see you again, my man. We'll have a great time. And that just about does us. So race hail, everyone, and we will see you again next week.